We want to thank our good friends over at 3 Star Sports Cards for sponsoring the podcast as well. We have a great relationship with them. They're over in Bloomington and in Little Canada, or go to 3starsportscards.com. There's like a bunch of football products out right now. I know basketball is a little lower, but I think they have Draft Pick Chronicles right now. So go check them out. Tell them the guys from 10,000 Layups sent you. They've been great. I go there all the time. So, Julian, we want to pick up where we left off in our 3 Star Sports Card corner. So last week we highlighted 2 players that we like going into the season as far as like their card value. I'm gonna quick hit on 3 more that I had on my list. So the first is a rookie. We talked about him after the draft. It's Jalen Suggs. He went 5th overall to the Magic, and he had a really bad game 1.
Yeah, it looked like crap.
Yeah, he did not he was like 3 for 14 from the field. Not good. So, but
he'll be okay.
Yeah, he's the 5th pick. So I guess if I'm going to play devil's advocate, it's he's not going to put up big stats. He's going to be in Orlando market that nobody really cares about Orlando. And that sucks. But I if you're doing short term, I think that's probably the wrong way to look at someone like Jalen Suggs. Yeah. I think long term, I think he has a chance to be really, really good. He's a great leader. What do you think
his ceiling is? Draft guru Kyle.
What is his ceiling? I guess I don't necessarily know what his I'm trying to think of like a player comp of who he is. I mean, I guess in my mind, he has like, this isn't a comparison, but well, it is. That's literally what it is, I guess. But I don't want to like talk about who he is as a player, but this is how he plays. Like he has that like Chris Paul-ish, like basically I'm going to take over the game, and like no matter what I need to do, whether that's scoring, whether that's setting up my teammates, running, I don't know, like Jason Kidd, like now to say that's his ceiling, I don't think so, because there's a lot of like guys that are like similar like that, but just aren't as good as those two. So I don't know. I mean, like I guess that's why I get so excited about him, because he has he has all those skills as far as like what you want at a competitor, and it seems like he has all the athleticism. So it's basically just like kind of putting it together.
He's got to shoot a little better.
Yeah, he has to shoot a little bit better. Yeah, but like
I like it though.
Yeah, with PSA down, I think you're going to get less people sending in a bunch of cards of him and others in for cheap. You can get them for cheap. And if I'm in NBA breaks for like a pick your team, I think the match, like if you're looking to if you're still able to like hit on a rookie, but not be like those top 3 guys, I think the Magic is actually kind of a smart pick. Again, I probably hold those long term. Like I'm just telling you my secret, because that's kind of what I'm doing. I think he's like my guy this year in the draft, which sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. For example, my guy this year for football has been Zach Wilson. And he is not very good. So
no,
I lose there. All right, next guy, Paul George, who obviously there's no Kawhi this year, probably for the majority of the year in Los Angeles. We saw in the playoffs last year of what Paul George was capable of without Kawhi. And we've always known, right? Like we've always razzed Paul George in the playoffs because he like normally doesn't live up to the moment. And I think that like doesn't help his prices. But last year in the playoffs, he was fantastic. And I think he silenced a lot of us.
I mean, he was a legitimate MVP contender 3 years ago. 2 or 3 years ago. I can't remember if it was 2 years ago or 3 years ago.
2 years ago, he was averaging 28 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals per game with the Thunder.
Yeah, like he's ridiculous.
And again, I don't think MVP odds, obviously it'll be, we'll learn more about like how good the Clippers are without Kawhi, but 30-1 MVP odds for Paul George.
Pretty
now,
good.
If you tell me they're in the top 4 in the West or like top 5, and like, I think that's a good bet. So Paul George, 10th pick in the 2010 NBA draft. So he has no Prism card. Well, he does, but he doesn't have a Prism rookie card. So he's the 2010 Donruss, which I believe these are the black edges, which are like really, really hard to grade. So there's only 57 PSA 10s out there of his rookie card. Now, last week, when I put together the show notes, they were at $400, up from $225 the 3 months before. So like almost doubled. So basically, people are taking note of this, and I'm not saying like, you're getting in cheap, but I am saying like there's 57 of these cards. Like I don't
Yeah.
think it's going to be like I don't think the market's going to shift like in a crazy way where it goes like super up or super down. Um, from like $400. So I think that's a good deal, especially like during the season. And our final guy is Brandon Ingram, who the Wolves will see this weekend.
Yep. It's a good one.
Like the more I think about it, though, I don't know if necessarily if it is because if the Pelicans are really bad, it doesn't really matter what Brandon Ingram does. As far as
But
his numbers,
like, he might not be on the Pelicans forever.
that's a good point too. Um, for him, he's a 2016 draft guy. His 2016 Prism PSA 10, which there's 1,200 of, are 145, which is actually down $15 from June. So he's the only guy on this list whose his price isn't rising. Um, and I think overall, like my love for Ingram and like the card market, and I think as a player, it it probably has to do more with Zion being out for opportunity, but he's only 24 years old.
I think Ingram is really underrated.
Yeah, we talk about Ben Simmons and like where he'll go and whatever, and it's like there's a interesting conversation of like who would you rather have, Ben Simmons or Brandon Ingram, because they went one and two in that draft class. Um,
Cursed draft.
yeah, right, but and maybe he makes the jump this year, and like his numbers indicate that he has, but like I think in a basketball circle, you're like, well, he's good, but he's not like at that
Yeah, yeah.
level of. But again, like he's averaging 24 points per game. If suddenly that goes up to 27 points per game, then he's
Yeah.
one of the elite scorers in the league, and he's averaging 27, 5 and 5, and then you're like right in par with like the Paul Georges and
Right.
everyone else. So yeah, those are just three more guys to keep an eye on their prices. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. And like if you are in the card market, I think one fun thing to do is just like after these guys have like really, really big games, and I'm not talking about like the Currys or the LeBrons, like guys that are already kind of cemented in their hobby value, but guys like Brandon Ingram and like these weird like second year guys that you've never really heard of, and they have 30
Mhm.
points, and like what happens to their card market the right day, the next day. So something to keep an eye on. So
Yeah, we gotta get another pack.
we do.
We
We
gotta
do.
figure out a good one to get though.
Yeah, like it
Have a
might be.
weird time.
It is a weird time. We can maybe go. I guess Optic is out this year.
Already, huh?
Yeah, but for last year.
Okay. Yeah, I
Um,
was like, wow.
it's the way they put it up. So I bought a pack from 3 stars, I think. Yeah. And it just like it has nothing to do with 3 stars, but like the way Optic has been this year, from what I've like read online, there's like some printing line errors.
Mm, that
I
sucks.
pulled a LaMelo rookie out of it, just like a base, like the rookies, and there was like a little corner ding on it
That
where it's
sucks.
like basically just kills your value. So it's like, well, yeah. So I don't know. Maybe maybe I'm staying away from Optic. We'll see. But yeah, we'll get a pack on here soon.
Nice. Dude, on the topic of rookies, I know we mentioned Suggs. You know who looks freaking good?
Who?
Mobley.
Yeah, dude. His
We were
I
like saying that he was like not gonna win Rookie of the Year just because of the opportunity, but it seems like they are committed to playing him next to Jared Allen in like a very real way, and he has looked phenomenal.
That's what I like. I'm glad you said that because I saw his stat line and I was just like, wow, like they have so
He's
many big men,
ridiculous.
and I think Jared Allen even had a good game too.
Yeah,
So like maybe
the
like
two of them together are scary. I mean, they're
yeah,
both mobile.
yeah.
Like, I don't know.
And
It's
Markkanen played a lot.
yeah, the Cavs, my buddy Sam, who was on this podcast a couple weeks ago, pointed out that the Cavs were running with a 3 7-footer lineup with Markkanen, Mobley, and Allen, which is
And
awesome.
that's insane.
I love it.
Let's see if there's any other NBA news we need to cover off on. The NBA put out their like top 75 team or like at 75 years, which we don't really need
Yeah,
to get
I don't
into.
I don't really wanna talk about that.
No. Every podcast I listen to for hoops, they do talk about it, and I'm like, well, don't we kind of know all these guys? Um,
AD being on there was a little odd, I thought, but
yeah. There are a few guys that I'm like Ray Allen was on it, and I'm like, I get it, that makes
yeah.
sense. Like Ray Allen's really good, but like, I guess like at some point you run out of like the guys that are like, oh yeah, they're the
I mean, it's
guy.
always a recency bias, right? Like,
Yeah. I guess basically the only other news is like the Ben Simmons situation
who the hell knows, man?
in Philly, which seems like it's not going to get any better. It
I don't
seems
even
like
know
both
what it
sides are.
is at this point. Like, yeah, it's just a nightmare. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are not taking Simmons' side, which is understandable. I mean, he's like badly mishandled this. Obviously, he's like getting some advice that's not good because everything he doesn't want to happen is happening. But like, I don't know, man. It's also I think like kind of whack for Philly to just expect him to come in and pretend like everything's fine after they just like shat on him all summer.
I know. Yeah.
But we'll see.
Yep. I agree. Like I get both sides where it's like, yep, you're getting paid to do this, but also it's like you want him to have a great attitude, but you guys haven't had a great attitude towards him in the last
Yeah,
9 months anyway. So
I think I would still trade like D'Lo and Beasley for him. But honestly, like at this point, with how the Wolves' chemistry has been, like I
I
don't
mean,
think I'd do
maybe
much more.
I was gonna say maybe yeah, like you get 2 or 3 more games of this, and it's like, well, maybe you're just like good with rolling
And
with
that's
these.
the concern, right? For Philly, like maybe
Yeah,
some of these teams decide they're set, except for
you
the
thought it would.
Blazers looked horrible. So
They
maybe they
did
could.
look bad. Well, yeah, because you thought it'd be well, not you individually, but like as a whole, I think that's what you think. You're like, oh yeah, like eventually somebody will need them, and it's like, well, maybe
Could go
not.
the other way too. It's
Yeah,
a bet.
maybe. All right, Julian, thanks for your time this morning. Orkin
Thank
man,
you.
thank you
Good
for
luck
your
with
time this
Orkin.
morning. I'll see you later this week. We'll record either on. I'm trying to think. Maybe we'll record next week Tuesday, and have like a Wednesday. Maybe we'll have like a Wednesday Friday pod next week.
Sure. Yeah.
After the 2 Pelicans games, and then we can kind of preview the next slate. Maybe a guest. Maybe the Orkin man. We'll see.
Wow.
Um,
That would be a departure.
that would be that would be something. All right, Julian, thank you so much, everyone, for listening. Thank you. Have a great weekend, and we will talk to you soon.